Tonight on Inside Louisiana Basketball, I sit down with head coaches Garry, Brodhead, and Bob Marlin. Athletic Director Brian Maggard joins us for Maggard Minutes. And Matt Casbon and Connor Whelan talk UL hosting Georgia State this week on ESPN2. But first, let's head over to Dan McDonald and Luana Stokes to talk about the week that was for women's basketball.
Louisiana's Ragin Cajun women's basketball team goes 1-2 on the week, all three at the Cajun Dome. They lose a couple of tough ones on the outside. They have a really good win over Appalachian State right in the middle. Luana Stokes along with Dan McDonald. And Luana, this Cajun team opened up against UTA, and they played well for a while, but UTA's size finally got to them, and the Cajuns again struggled shooting in that 76-61 loss.
Exactly, Dan, and I think because Louisiana anticipated that the bigger girls was coming in that day, they just lost it at the end. They started off very well, and then for some reason they lost concentration, and it didn't end in their favor.
Brandy Williams had 13 in that game. Skylar Goodwin with 10 in the last game that she's going to see action for a while because she's been injured the last two games. Diamond Morrison had 10 off the bench, but the Cajuns shoot 39% in the ball game and only 33% in the second half in that one. They get out rebounded 30-28, but Luana, a big key in that game, they had 20 turnovers against UTA, and a lot of those came in the second half.
Again, Dan, Louisiana, they struggle with turnovers, and it's like they can't control the ball, and they lose focus on what they're doing, and that's where the turnovers come in.
Cajuns lose that one 76-61, but they come back two nights later hosting Appalachian State, and this was an Appalachian State team that was on a roll. They were 4-3 in conference play coming in here, but the Cajuns explode in the second half. They take a 73-55 win over the Mountaineers, and they do it with a 24-6 run in the third quarter. And Luana, that third quarter the Cajuns had against the Mountaineers was about as impressive as I've seen them play all year.
Exactly, Dan. That was an awesome game on Thursday night. I mean, this was the first time I really saw the Cajuns gel together. They did some awesome plays. You can see them communicating. And Ty Doucette, she just owned the court.
Ty Doucette had 28 points in that game, 13 of 25 shooting. Also had 15 rebounds. She had her 9th double-double of the season in that one. Brandy Williams also had 16 points in that game. She really was on a tear as far as shooting the basketball from long range that time. The Cajuns shot 45% as a team, but more impressively, they made 50% of their shots outside the arc.
And that was very impressive, Dan, and it speaks how they really, like I said, they gel together. And again, this is the first time I really saw them work that well, and it's like the collaboration was out there with the team.
Appalachian State came in as one of the they were the leading rebounding team in the Sun Belt, one of the leading rebounding teams in the country. Cajuns actually took a 41-37 rebound advantage in that game, and that's something I know a lot of us didn't expect. I know something that Coach Garry Brodhead really liked seeing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everyone was crashing the boards, especially Doucette. I mean, she just was on Thursday night. She did almost everything perfect, and it showed.
And the Cajuns came off that one on the Thursday night win. They came in with high hopes for the Saturday game against Coastal Carolina. Ran into some trouble shooting the basketball the entire game against Coastal Carolina. It was close after one quarter. Coastal led 15-14, but after that, Coastal dominated the second and third quarters and went on to win 76-58. And really, after the way that the Cajuns played Thursday, Luana, it was really pretty much a disappointing outing for them on the Saturday afternoon.
It was very heartbreaking, especially for the fans who came out to support them. I think they were wanting to see what they saw on Thursday. They just didn't get that this evening, Dan.
Cajuns had balanced scoring in that game. Diamond Morrison actually came off the bench for 12. Kendall Bess had a career high with 11, and Andrea Canoyer with 10, but they couldn't do anything about the shooting of Coastal Carolina. Coastal was 9 out of 16 outside the arc and made 50%, 51% actually as a team in the game.
Exactly, and they made a cream cookie out of Doucette. They just smashed her in, and she couldn't do anything. So, again, they came out working hard, but it wasn't in their favor this evening.
Ty Doucette limited to only 8 points, 7 rebounds in that game. Coastal with a 41-33 rebound advantage. With the 1-2 week, Cajuns moved to 6-15 on the year. They're 4-6 in conference play, and of course conference games starting to mean something now as we're only about 4 weeks out from the conference tournament, and the Cajuns fighting for seeding. The one win on Thursday was big, but the other 2 wins have put them in a difficult situation with some good road games coming up.
They're going to have to just come on in and work hard and see what they need to do to get better and pick up from their mistakes and try to make some improvement.
Cajuns go 1-2 on the week. They end up the week with a 76-58 loss to Coastal Carolina after the Thursday win over Appalachian State. For Luana Stokes, I'm Dan McDonald from the Cajun Dome.
Next on Inside Louisiana Basketball, women's head coach Garry Brodhead joins me to recap the week and look ahead to upcoming Sun Belt action.
If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, then your feet will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, mange. If you're happy and you know it, mange. If you're happy and you know it, nothing God will help you show it. If you're happy and you know it, mange.
To perform, you need speed, skill, strength. With every muscle, every move, you push your body to reach its full potential. But sometimes you just can't push through the pain. That's when you know it's time to address it. So when injury puts you on the sidelines, trust us to get you back in the game. Lourdes Sports Care, the team behind your team.
The 2019 Sun Belt Basketball Championships, where spirit flows, our passion shows, our pride grows, where champions rise above. At Lakefront Arena in New Orleans, presented by First Bank and Trust, it's the Sun Belt Men's and Women's Basketball Championships. Contact your local ticket office today.
Welcome back to Inside Louisiana Basketball. I'm sitting down with Louisiana head coach Garry Brodhead. How are you?
Good morning.
Good. So you started off the week on Tuesday playing Arlington, last Tuesday, and they are huge players. They're about twice the size of the Cajuns. So what was your plan going into the game defensively?
Well, you know, if you noticed, they had some size, but we kind of actually wanted to try to play a little bit faster and pressured them a little bit, and really on everything's predicated on our defense. So I noticed after probably the first 5 or 6 minutes, they came down to our size. They started to kind of rotate people in and out, and all of a sudden their tallest person's 6 foot. I mean, Ty Deuce at 6'1". So we made them kind of match up toward us the first half, and then I think just the third quarter got kind of out of hand as far as for us making stops. But you can always handle the size by just kind of playing a little bit faster, I think, and keeping them in the middle of the floor.
So Ty Doucette didn't have the best game against Arlington, but turned it around for Appalachian State. What do you think needs to happen so that she's more consistent? Well,
I think as a whole, our whole team, we got to look for Ty more, and she's got to try to create herself some more opportunities too by posting up, and we can see she's getting a little bit more consistent, especially when she feels comfortable. Sometimes they'll double her up. We knew in the Coastal game they were going to kind of come in and play and double her up and try to deny her the ball, and they did a pretty good job. But it's, to me, getting more consistent at giving herself some opportunities, and as our guards too. We got to look at her, to look for her more, and try to get her more touches.
So Skylar Goodwin wasn't able to play against Appalachian State. So what happened there? Well,
she has a stress reaction in her foot, and we holding her out and trying to let it heal. So it looks like it's about a week. She'll be back. It's kind of day to day more than anything else to see how she feels, if she can handle the pain and all that. And we're just trying to kind of calm it down before it becomes a stress fracture.
So the game against Appalachian State was tied at halftime, and then you guys were able to come back and get the win at the end. So what was the conversation like in the locker room at halftime to motivate your team?
I thought we were doing a fairly good job on the defensive side, and I tell you what, we just came out the third quarter and shot the ball really well. It's probably the best we've shot it all year. I thought our ball movement was good. We were getting some opportunities inside, so it created some outside in and inside-out scores, and so I think that was it. And you just see a level of confidence. We were concerned with not having Skylar there, but everybody kind of stepped up, and I think it was a complete team effort.
So speaking of shooting, Diamond Morrison made a 45-foot three-pointer in that game. So how exciting was that? I mean, the crowd went crazy. What did you feel about that?
Well, I mean, and she got kind of caught, so I didn't know if she was going to be able to get it off, and she did. And it was a great shot. And I think it was number 2 in the ESPN top 20, so that was kind of exciting. We've never had a player that was on ESPN top, and she finished top 2, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So despite the loss against Coastal Carolina later in that week, Kendall Best had another career-high game, so she's growing as each game moves forth in the season. So how is it seeing her grow as a player?
Well, you know, it's to see her, you know, not playing until December and coming in right now, it's getting more comfortable playing with everybody, practicing, and you know, she's such a talented player. It's just getting a feel for the game again, and with her teammates. You know, she got to kind of get used to playing with. This is a whole new team for her. You know, she's a first-year player, even though she's a junior. But I just like her energy and effort, man. I think that's something that we talk about, that glue type of player that plays hard, does whatever it takes to win, and you know, we saw some of that in her on Saturday night.
So Andre and Brandy are the #1 and #2 freshman shooters in the Sun Belt, and they scored a combined 19 points on Saturday. So how is it seeing them grow as shooters throughout the year?
Well, you know, I think they're just confident. They've never seen a shot they don't like, and I like that about them, you know. They got to have amnesia a lot of times when they miss a shot to keep moving on. But I thought they've been shooting the ball extremely well, especially Brandy. I think Brandy is really feeling really confident, and both of them really work hard at it. You know, they stay after, before practice, so it gives us confidence too to see how much they're working to try to, you know, continue to improve.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Next on Inside Louisiana Basketball, Athletic Director Brian Maggard joins us for Maggard Minutes, and Matt Casbin and Connor Whelan talk Louisiana versus Georgia State this Friday on ESPN2.
Lafayette feels like a big city that offers everything but a small town vibe.
Well, to simply describe the culture here in 3 words, it would be joie de vivre, which translates to joy of life, which very accurately describes Lafayette, Louisiana.
There's Festival International, which definitely celebrates so many different cultures and brings in music from all over.
There's tons of parades that are held in the Lafayette area, and there's actually parades that come right through the campus. So if you live on campus in one of the residence halls, you can literally walk out your door and walk to a parade during Mardi Gras season. No need to worry about finding parking or things like that. It's literally right outside your door.
So there are tons of great green spaces outside, like Girard Park, right by campus. There are so many students who go and set up their hammock and read.
Here they have just as many chain stores as anywhere else, like Costco, Walmart, Target, Whole Foods. But then there's also many local boutiques and shops that you can experience as well. Lafayette has a culture unlike any other, whether it be from food, live music, or events around town. You can always experience the culture in many different ways, from po' boys to crawfish étouffée to parades. Lafayette's got it all.
Hello Cajun Nation, this is Brian Maggard, Director of Athletics, University of Louisiana. I trust that the month of January treated you well, and as we enter month 2 of 2019, we've got a lot of exciting things in store with regards to Ragin Cajuns athletics. Most recently, I spent a couple days in New Orleans as we continue to build the brand and develop relationships in that great city. We know we have a tremendous number of alumni in that area, and we know that it's going to be imperative for us moving forward to have a presence in New Orleans and continue to build positive relationships that will help us move our program forward. There'll be 3 key initiatives that you're going to see me focusing on for the remainder of this semester and beyond, and those include the renovation of Cajun Field. Very soon we will be having our final meeting on the feasibility study for that complex, and hopefully we'll have plans to look at and identify and review to see how we're going to move that project forward. Secondly, we want to continue to improve our investor model through the RCAF, and so you'll see us reviewing and potentially rolling out very soon a new investor model that will allow more clarity, be a more user-friendly model, and incentivize our investors to continue to invest in the lives of our 450 plus student athletes at even a higher level. This is going to be a very important initiative for our department, as it will serve as a roadmap for the next 2 to 3 years for this department. It'll help us identify where we want to go and how we're going to get there. Our spring sports are about to kick off. Very exciting for both softball and baseball. Our softball program has its first game on February 7th, and baseball kicks off a very exciting series against University of Texas starting on February 15th. So we're extremely excited to get those two sports underway. Currently, both men's and women's tennis are competing at a high level for us, and we look forward to them continuing that success and compete for and win championships at the Sun Belt Conference level. Men's and women's basketball continue to be very strong for us this season. As you know, that we have mirror scheduling going on right now, and so when the men are on the road, the women are at home, and vice versa. So every week, typically on Thursdays and Saturdays, you can partake in a home basketball game at the Cajun Dome. So we encourage all of our fans to come out whenever you can to support the men's and women's basketball programs. Without your support, we cannot accomplish what we want to accomplish. So as I end this month, I just want to say thank you to all of our investors and our fans for the support, whether you give through your time, your treasure, or your talents. And we appreciate anything and everything that you continue to do for us moving forward.
We got Louisiana hosting Georgia State, who's got some pro-level players on that team as well. It'll be on ESPN2, and we're looking to sell that thing out. How's things been going? Trying to get more people in the stands for that, and what do we have planned, the festivities?
I think you can expect a different level of energy. I'm just going to put that out there right now. There is just something about this rivalry since year one when Georgia State entered the conference. You know, every game that we play, you feel like it is for a championship. There's a level of excitement that our fans will bring into the Cajun Dome that night that you don't see against any other team. Part of that is when you get into a rivalry, there is an aspect of that 50-50. You don't really know who's going to win every time you step on the court. And that just raises the level of play on the court, but also raises the level of anticipation leading up to it. Us beating them in the finals of the conference tournament, them beating us in the conference tournament, the home and home series through conference play. And then obviously the coaching staff's very, very competitive, very animated when they're out there. And so everybody needs to raise it up a notch. And just judging by the level of play that we have right now, judging where they are in conference play right now, I expect a packed house, but also I expect a very vocal aspect to this game that you might not always get at a college basketball game. But there's just something about this game that people circled it early and knew how important it was going to be, not only just in the standings, but leading into postseason play.
Now, those who may not know, Connor, you're heavily involved in the actual in-game activity,
Yes.
Running that whole situation. He's a guy on the sidelines in the suits, sometimes the velvet jackets.
Right.
Connor, what do we have planned on this big night?
So we have a ton of things planned. Red Panda, who, if you're not familiar with Red Panda, you'll see her on SportsCenter a lot. She's the lady who rides the unicycle, throws the bowls from her feet to her head. I met Red Panda while working at Arkansas, so I knew her agent a little bit, and that was something that's a big deal. You know, she's done the NBA Finals. She's, like I said, always on the internet. I saw Jay Billis, Coach Marlin retweeted Jay Billis tweeting about Red Panda the other day. So always a big deal to have her in the house, especially on national TV. So I reached out to her agent and I said, here's some dates we have lined up, but the big one is the national TV game. We'd really like to get this done. And he was phenomenal to work with. We got that thing locked in, and I know that everybody's been really excited about it. But it's also going to be our blackout game as well. So we'll give away T-shirts to students, and we encourage all of our fans to wear black. We want this thing to look awesome on national television. We want to show the country the noise level and the atmosphere that the Cajun Dome can provide. So again, there's just a lot of things going on. And lastly, I had a great conversation about this yesterday with some folks on campus. We're giving away a pair of Yeezys thanks to Sneaker Politics here in Lafayette. So the buzz about that on campus was much greater than I expected.
$1,000 shoes. Huh?
Yeah. So no, the student buzz around this game has been there's been more buzz about this Georgia State basketball game than, in my opinion, any other football game other than Grambling State. I mean, it seems that big to me. So I'm really, really fired up about this game, and I know it's something that a lot of students, a lot of Cajun fans are really looking forward to.
Next on Inside Louisiana Basketball, we sit down with men's head coach Bob Marlin as he preps for a huge week in conference play.
Sonic's Fritos Chili Cheese Faves, a Fritos Chili Pie, Juicy Junior Burger, or Junior Wrap. Does all this comfort come at a price? Yes, it starts at 99 cents. Hurry in for Sonic's Fritos Chili Cheese Faves.
At the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, our Ragin Cajuns spirit goes beyond athletics.
The 2019 Sunbelt Basketball Championships, where spirit flows, our passion shows, our pride grows, where champions rise above. At Lakefront Arena in New Orleans, presented by First Bank and Trust, it's the Sunbelt Men's and Women's Basketball Championships. Contact your local ticket office today.
Welcome back to Inside Louisiana Basketball. I'm sitting down with Louisiana men's basketball coach Bob Marlin. How are you today?
Doing great, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. So I want to talk with you about the game against Appalachian State. You guys had a bit of a slow start, and they actually scored the first 17 points in the game. So why do you think you guys weren't able to catch up with them at the beginning?
Not really sure. We struggled the first couple of minutes of the game, as you said, fell behind. We called timeout. We still couldn't stop the bleeding there, but we missed easy shots and had a couple of turnovers, and they were scoring and then getting second chance opportunities off offensive rebounds. So we dug ourselves a hole, and we were able to fight back a little bit. We cut it to 11 and then let it run back out the first half to 20 and just never could get into it the second half.
So you mentioned turnovers, and you guys actually had the most turnovers that you've had all season against Appalachian State. So with only 2 days until you played Coastal Carolina, how did you plan on fixing that problem?
We'll certainly throw it to the guy with the same colored jersey was the message when we went to Coastal Carolina. Don't throw it to the other team. But you're right, we had 17 turnovers in the 2 home games last week against South Alabama and Troy, and then we have 21, which was our high of the year, and also our second worst 3-point shooting game of the year against App State. So we tried to turn both those around. The turnovers were better, but we still struggled to shoot the ball against Coastal.
So you guys, like you said, had a slow start with Coastal Carolina, but Jerikas Davis made all of his baskets in the first half of the game, and that kind of helped you guys keep up going into the second half. So just talk about his performance in that game.
We did a good job early. He was guarding Zach Cuthbertson, who's an all-conference player for Coastal Carolina, a nice player, and he did a good job on him, and he scored the basketball for us. The second half, though, we didn't get scoring from him. We need to be consistent in both halves, and that hurts a little bit. But Jerikas helped offset the loss of Jakeena Gant, who was in early foul trouble and was saddled with 3 fouls, only played 10 minutes in the first half.
So in the second half, you mentioned that you guys struggled a little bit. What do you think was the biggest thing that you guys struggled with?
Again, we didn't shoot the basketball. If you look at our top 4 shooters, and Jarikas and Jakina and Cedric, PJ Hardy, those guys were 23 of 44 in the 2 home games last week, and then these 2 road games were 7 of 36. And that's 48 points we left on the board. That's too many, and we've got to do a better job of shooting the basketball.
Yeah, so despite the losses this week, Jakina Gant still did great. I mean, he recorded his 10th double-double of the season. So just talk about him for a little bit. How was he growing this year?
Even with early foul trouble, he was able to come back in the second half, and I think he had 21 and 8 in the second half before fouling out. So he was our best player in both games again. But really just proud of Jakina's focus. He's really worked hard, and when Malik went down with ACL surgery at the beginning of conference play, he stepped his game up, and he's been consistent, and we've got to get some other guys to step up with him.
So how do you plan on getting your team back into a winning mentality going up against this week with the Georgia teams?
Well, we've been good at home, and we've shot the ball well at home, so we need to come out and play with confidence at home. We got 2 big games this week against Georgia Southern, who we beat in the last 2 times we played, both in Statesboro. So I know they're looking forward to coming in here and playing us, and then we'll play Georgia State on Friday, which will be a big game on ESPN2. So we certainly need to get back to making shots and playing with confidence. Losing on the road in college basketball is something that happens to a lot of really good teams, and it's happened to us before. Ironically, that's the first time we've lost a 2-game conference road swing in over 2 calendar years, so pretty impressive that we were able to do that, losing back in 16-17 actually to Georgia State and Georgia Southern, the 2 teams that are coming to see us this week. So we just got to regroup and play with confidence at home and continue to let our fans be the 6th man behind us.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
Next on Inside Louisiana Basketball, we take a look at the upcoming schedules for Ragin Cajuns basketball.
Being a Ragin Cajun means wearing red on Fridays, supporting our sports teams by going to the basketball games, the football games. Being a Ragin Cajun means saying hi to your friends when you see them around campus, or saying hi to people that you've never seen before on campus, because that's who we are.
The atmosphere here is electric. I mean, we have the best fans here, and the energy around campus is just the same. You know, those are the same people that come to your games and support you. The student section is packed almost every game, and to have that so much support, it just feels good that, people actually care. You're not just going out there and playing basketball and just you and your teammates. You actually have people that are behind you and want to see you do well.
And we have many activities and events for students that are freshmen that help get them to build their Ragin Cajun spirit. Then they start going to the activities that all the other students are participating in, like homecoming and Lanyap Day, and different things within their major. And all of these things really get students start feeling what it's like to be a Ragin Cajun. Not just with athletics, but also with just the feel of what it's like in being the Ragin Cajun family.
So whether you're interested in athletics or academics or art or orchestra, as long as you're doing what you love in this university, you're making this university proud, and you have Ragin Cajun spirit.
The Steakhouse Bacon Cheeseburger from Sonic. Crispy bacon, melty cheese, black pepper mayo, and grilled onions. No reservations required. The Steakhouse Burger and Tots for only $4.99. Get them now.
Thanks for watching another episode of Inside Louisiana Basketball. I'm going to leave you with the upcoming schedules for Ragin Cajuns basketball.